throwing dirt on my paws, but the ball rise like pimples. Anything flies in the rental. Come here, I like your thighs and your dimples. She just like the size of my earrings.
To run through the rest of this information. Pardon me if we're kind of tardy on the time. To the family in the live stream and the family in the audience, I know that we all have things that we have to do, but you know, we're gonna get this information out. All right, I'm gonna start with definition of color. I gotta read it from the computer. This is the legalese definition. This is not Webster's dictionary, but this is the legalese. This is the definition that stands in court. Color, an appearance, semblance, or simulacrum, as distinguished from which is real. A prima facie, or apparent right, hence a deceptive appearance. A plausible, assumed exterior, concealing a lack of reality, a disguise or pretext. This is color. You calling yourself color. Parents, patria. Father of his country, parent of the country. In England, the king. In the United States, as a sovereign, referring to the sovereign power of guardianship over persons under disability, such as minors and insane and incompetent persons. That is you, black people. You are seen as minors. So there is a king or a father or a parent over you. And that's how they're treating you. Okay? Prison complex industry. That is how this complex industry has been formed. This complex industry has been formed from people acquiescing to statuses. Excuse me, can you be quiet over there, please? Thank you. Penal. Okay? This is the prison complex industry. Let's do the definition of penal. Penal is punishable, inflicting a punishment, containing a penalty, or relating to a penalty. Penal action, in practice, an action upon a penal statute. An action for the recovery of a penal given by statute. Escheat, in feudal law, escheat is an obstruction of the course of descent, a consequent determination of the tenure by some unforeseen contingency, in which case the land naturally results back by a kind of reversion to the original grantor or lord of the fee. Meaning that they are, through feudal law, they are holding your land, the Americas, and all things inside of the land, the resources, the water, the oil, the gold, the silver, the gemstones. You think of it, all of these things are being escheated by your guardian or your parent. And they will not give it back to it until your ass stands up. And I didn't say we wasn't talking no stick talk, no gun talk. We're talking about you better stand up in your mind first. The concept of sovereignty needs to take you over before you even think about being such. Civiliter mortus. This is the banger. Civilly dead. Dead in the view of the law. The condition of one who has lost his civil rights and capacities and is accounted dead in law. Now you've been seeing what's been taking place lately. Does it not look like Negroes are dead in the eyes of the law? Are they not treating you like they turning their back on you like, pardon my back, excuse my shoulders, but that's the way that we treat you doges. They stunting on you. They treat you like furniture. Fraternal Order of Police endorses Trump. The Fraternal Order of the Police is a fraternity. It is the Masonic Lodge of the police. Meaning that they keep secrets and all kind of things are done internally. Meaning that if they have memos to kill your black asses, you would not know. That is an internal fraternal, that is a fraternal charge. Like, you know, things that happen inside of gangs, like if somebody gets green lighted in the mafia, you don't know about that. That's inside, that's fraternal. La Moreta. Alright. Sotomayor calls out Supreme Court for letting cops get away with shoot first, think later approach. That's a Galilean dialect. I don't believe her. An 18-year-old has been charged in the shooting death of a St. Louis County police officer. This was the other day. Okay? He is being held on a $1 million bond. They didn't kill him, though. These are the Sephardim Jews that I was reading about earlier when we were talking about the capitulation of the Moors and the capitulation of the Jews. These are some of the Jews who migrated into what is known as Hollywood and these other places where they hold power. But these are some of the people that are responsible for the slave trade. All right, these are some slave ships. All right, the Portuguese slave trade, the transatlantic. The rivalry for the control of the Atlantic slave trade will later be taken over by the more business-conscious and officious Protestants of Holland and England through a series of wars fought on the high seas in several continents. Portugal's ruling class, monarchs and merchants enriched by the lucrative sugar and slave trade exercised significant economic and political power. In 1498, Vasco da Gama rounded Africa's Cape of Good Hope, which opened new trade routes to India and China, severing the Muslim trade monopoly into Asia. Portugal also claimed the new territory of the New World within the scope of the Papal Bull of 1455, which authorized Catholic nations to reduce to servitude all infidel people. I thought that Muslims, the bad Muslims, were only calling Christians infidels. Well, they called your ass an infidel too. It is said, according to the Pope, that the Vatican has the ability and the rights to conquer everything within the scope of the church. It said the Catholic nations are to reduce to servitude. That means slavery. All infidel people. That means Africans. That means Moors. That's West Africans. That's people that was practicing a traditional religions and they didn't want to become a Muslim. They didn't want to become a Christian. So they were the ones that got put on the ships. Europe was effectively ruled by an aristocracy of traditionally privileged families and nobles, enterprising merchants and traders in the Catholic Church. Collectively, they sought to gain power and wealth by taking advantage of the insurmountable resources in the New World and by exploiting the people of Africa and the West Indies. The ruling elite of Western Europe had a mutual understanding of greed, which spawned a horrific enterprise in the trading and shipping of human cargo. The enslavement of the African race and the genocidal campaigns towards indigenous peoples of the Bahamian Islands was capitalist at its earliest stages. It became a necessary evil that maintained an inward flow of wealth and absolute power to European treasuries. That's how they got rich. That's why you niggas is in a Gucci store giving them all of your money, thinking that they are the biggest and baddest and the top ones, and you equate Roman with wealth. You equate everything European with wealth. You call them the haves and you call yourself the have-nots. You niggas was praying to the queen. I see the Jamaicans. They were calling the queen mama. Facts. Yep. And the Africans and some Haitians and stuff of that nature. And wonder why they get licks. And wonder why they get struck down. And wonder why they fire bud and Babylon falls on them sometimes. What you doing worshiping the queen? What you doing worshiping Spain? You niggas worship Spain by following the soccer. Remember her? All right, going back to the Pirates of the Caribbean. They telling your story in whiteface. Who's that look like? That's it. See, does anybody know how to fix Max? Because I need to take this into a bigger screen. This is not coming out the right way. I need to, because y'all can't see the whole picture. I need y'all to see everything that's being shown. Give me 1 second. All right, that's the Easter ritual in Spain. Those people with those hoods on their heads, that's in Spain. The Ku Klux Klan is an occult group of witchcraft, Satanists, and occultists on the shores of America who pay homage to their occultic Gothic parents in Spain. And the rituals of the lynchings, those are blood rituals and sacrifices, they send the niggas up to their deities. Okay? Like they send chickens up, they send Africans up. Alright? The Olmecs. These are the people, they said that they disappeared. He disappeared them. These are the Olmecs. That's Mexico. That's the Philippines. They're like, I don't know what happened to them. They disappeared them right there. Those are the conquistadors. They killed all of them. They bodied them. And then they raped the women and produced these light-skinned Spanish niggas. Okay? That is right here. These are the Incas. 1960s. The Incas at Machu Picchu. 1942, the arrival of Columbus. 1500, the Aztecs dominate central Mexico. 1521, Cortez conquers the Aztecs. 1525, the Incas peak. 1533, Pizarro, where you get pizza from, conquers the Incas. All right? The last king that they killed was Tupac Amaru Shakur. Okay, Tupac Amaru is a powerful symbol of resistance in Peru. In Latin America, Tupac Amaru Shakur is a powerful symbol of resistance in America and worldwide. That's your black messiah. That's the messianic force. That's who they was going after. Tupac Amaru was the last indigenous leader of the Inca state in Peru. He was the fourth son of Manco Capac, an Inca emperor who was initially allied with the Spaniards, then tried a war against them, wasn't successful. Manco Capac founded an independent state to the northeast of Cusco called Vilcabamba. It was a place with very different access. In 1544, there was a Spanish attack and Manco Capac was killed. He was succeeded by his son, Siri Tupac, who died. Probably poisoned in Cusco 1558. His brother, Titu Cusco, was then in charge for about 12 years more. He died in 1571. Tupac Amaru, another brother of the two previous indigenous leaders, was crowned as the new emperor. The Spanish viceroy in Peru, Francisco de Toledo, wanted to get rid of the remnants of the Incan Empire at the time, so in 1572, Spanish soldiers and their indigenous allies attacked the empire and captured Tupac Amaru and his followers. He was killed. All right. These are the colors. I wish you could see a bigger picture. These are the indigenous colors of the Incan kings and the royalty. They are all melanated copper tone. Part 2, Fear of a Blackamoor Messiah. That's J. Edgar Hoover. All right. There goes Drew Ali. He fits the description of messianic. There goes the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. He fits the description of the black messiahs. Okay? These are his people in New York when he was leading thousands of people through the streets of Harlem as God, raising them up from lowly states. That's the feds once Hoover and them locked them up. This is the definition of Blackamoor. Blackamoor is a noun, a person with dark skin who comes from Africa. Familiarity information. A blackamoor used as a noun is very rare. Meaning, a person with dark skin who comes from Africa. Classified under nouns denoting people. Synonyms: black person, blackamoor, negro, negroid, black. Hypernyms: individual, mortal, person, somebody, someone, soul, a human being. Person of color, formerly non-European and non-white person. Domain region, Africa, the second largest continent located south of Europe and bordered on the west and the South Atlantic and to the east by the Indian Ocean. Hypernyms, each of the following is a kind of blackamoor. Negress, a black woman. Black man, a man who is black. Black woman. So the definition of color applies. White Americans are the statistically biggest threat to the United States, so why are you so worried about Muslims? Where are the drone attacks on the Aryan nation? Where are you groveling ass Negroes with badges and shit and running around in your fatigues? Why you niggas didn't do a citizen arrest yet? Huh? Right. Why you couldn't commandeer a drone? You killing for Uncle Sam, but you won't take it into your own hands to gun these dudes down. Right. The leading cause of police death, post-traumatic stress disorder. If anybody needed a reminder that America has a police brutality problem, the deaths of Alton Sterling and Philando Castile proved it. Actual numbers of violent police encounters are difficult to come by, but the dearth of data is getting more attention. New research published in the British Medical Journal demonstrates the danger posed to the citizens by the most routine police practice of legal stop. Researchers analyzed 12.3 million Research analyzed 12 million police interventions from 2012, the year where they started the Trayvon killing, the year where the Trayvon thing happened, the year that was the catalyst year to what you see as the police brutality, the uptick in the murders, the uptick in the fear-mongering campaign and the psyops post-2012. That's when they turned up. Prior to that, yes, they were killing our people. Yes, they were brutalizing our people. Yes, men and women were being beat up and incarcerated in record numbers. But no, it was not on the hearts and the minds of our people. You were being scared by ISIS. You were being scared by Muslims. You were being scared by other boogeymans. It didn't come home yet. You niggas thought you were G.I. Joe back then. You were talking about, the terrorists over there. When the whole time, they were making your black ass a terrorist. They were cooking your image. Local, regional, national, and global. They watch World Star around the world. Did you know that? Yep. Did you know that World Star, they watch more World Star around the world than they watch the conscious community, than they read Atlanta Black Star, than they watch Hidden Colors? Huh? Do you know they watch black porn around the world like it's going out of style? Do you know that they watch the fights that the savage knuckle draggers amongst us be having online with 100 women jumping one woman and her child? Do you know that the Jew, on purpose, he sends that shit around the world with a bow tie on it? Look at these niggas. Look at these savages. How could they be the chosen ones? These are the people in the biblical that they talk about. These are the ones that ham. These are the Hamites. Huh? Let us kill them for you. Help us help you. Okay? That's the approach. Help us help you get rid of the nigga problem. Because I gave you the definition of a sheet. I gave you the definition of nationality and status. Meaning that you are the inhabitants of a land that they stole. You are inhabitants of a land that they're like, nah, we're just going to take this. We're going to take the wheel, Jesus. Jesus, take the wheel. Not Jesus taking the wheel. They're taking the wheel. And they're like, yo, these niggas are minors. And as long as they call themselves minors, we got this. We got the oil. We're going to take care of their water, although we're going to poison it. We're going to take their air and we're going to poison it. We're going to take the food and we're going to poison it. We're going to take the animals and we're going to GMO it. We're going to take the vaccination. We're going to poison them. Okay? And if they do wake up, they won't make it to the ripe old age, right? Past 40 or 50, when your faculties really begin to kick in. Okay? That's when the majority of men become millionaires. When they become well-seasoned, more mature. There's different phases in our lives. We're supposed to be living into those wise wisdom ages of wise elders so we could pass down our inheritance to multiple generations. You cannot do that if you're dying at 18. You cannot do that if you're dying at 20. You cannot do that if you're dying at 35 because you got a heart attack from taking a Viagra to get a boner. Okay? That's not how you can do it. You can't do it when you're dying because you drunk some lean because your ass wanted to be like Lil Wayne. You're not going to be able to make it. All right? When you're having unprotected anal sex with another man in your fucking teenage years. All right? You're not going to make it. Okay? You're not going to make it. So, they don't have a problem with black death. There's a benefit in that. Black bodies are worth more dead than alive. You are rightful owners. Not all of us, not all everybody, but there are some of us who have bloodlines and blood ties to this land of milk and honey, might I add, which is called the Americas. Because some people come from the islands, some of us come from Central America, South, North, okay, and Africa. Because we was taking boats back and forth. We was traveling like that. Expedia.com. All right. We are the merchants. We were on the seven seas. I showed you that with the pirates. I showed you that with the corsairs. To the point where it was highway robbery. Don't even let me see your shit. Fuck, what are you talking about, a slave ship? Don't even let me see your banner flying. The American flag is a trading banner. It's not a flag. It's not even a flag. That thing that they got you pledging allegiance to. So watching Black Death online causes a special kind of trauma for black people. Well, wow, you don't say. You don't say. The leading cause of police death, post-traumatic stress disorder. So they stressed out because they killing niggas. They stressed out because they looking in the murder books. They on the police scenes and they seeing heinous shit that savage niggas are doing to each other. I'm not giving these niggas a pass. Okay? If you ever dated anybody in the police department, when I was 18, a girlfriend of mine's father was a detective. When he was at work, she would let me look at the book. What is the book? The book is the book of bodies. The book is the book of all of the murders that these niggas out here be doing when you're sleeping. You don't want to look at that book. It traumatized me for life. I still dream about the bodies that I saw. Bloated, purple, hands cut off, head cut off, arms cut off, women with gunshots in their head from their husband, babies burnt. All of that stuff, the shit that you read about, that you listen to in these rap songs, that these niggas go out and do, it's heinous. So these police are it's an internal thing within their departments, in their fraternities, and they pass the books around. Justifiable homicide on their behalf. Okay? They try to show you that shit at CSI in the first 48 to kind of like dehumanize and desensitize you. But the police department are running with that shit. That's their fuel. Okay? The same way that they were passing the ISIS videos around. Right? That was their fuel to go and kill. Look at what they're doing in Saudi Arabia. Look, they're burning people. Look, they're beheading people. And before the black death came, the Arab death was there. Right? The Arab death was there. The Islamic death was there. So the Crusades were still taking place because they was going all up and down your timeline. The people that they created, the ISIS. Okay? And in Libya, when they killed all of those Africans alongside with Muammar Gaddafi. You saw all of that. You saw Saddam Hussein hanging on Christmas vacation. Okay, on Christmas weekend they showed you the hanging and then they removed it from your consciousness because remember, it's all about the download. It ain't about nothing else. It's inception. That shit goes to the third level. Once they give you the download, then they pull it back. You already got inundated with a 40 or 48-hour news cycle. It's been embossed and impressed upon your psyche. It is a traumatic effect, and it created alter egos. It shattered your innocence. Because when Black Death goes viral, it can trigger PTSD-like trauma. The mental health of our people has been compromised. Niggas have lost their minds. Okay? And if you lose your mind, you in trouble. I don't know. If you lose your mind, you better get on some powerful herbs to get it back. You could lose an arm or a leg. You could even lose your phallus. Okay? And still be able to walk the streets. Keep your head up. But when you lose your mind, when you lose your senses, all is mental. So when you are disconnected, okay, and you're shattered and you're traumatized, or you've been abused, or you've been molested, or you've been exposed to traumatic experiences at a young age where it will shatter your reality, okay? When you've been in their Christian churches and one of their preachers takes you in the back and molests you numerous times, when one of these black men who've been traumatized themselves by just being in Western society, and he's sick, and he got demons inside of him because he's been reading out of a brick wall, a magic book, yeah. This nigga got spells in him. Right? And then that shit gets activated because Western society has been structured and built to activate the demon inside of you. It's been built and because look at the advertisement. They showed you that in Edward Bernays' Century of Self. The advertisement is catered to your lower self. So all of the pictures got white men holding phallus symbols or guns. And they got chicks with bikinis selling cars to niggas and beer. What does that have to do with this stuff? Going back to what I told you, they gotta mix sex and money and murder and violence together. That shit is a recipe. Right. So sell to your lower self. So we're being traumatized inside of Rome, inside of Western society, and that shit triggers PTSD. But what is the syndrome? Okay, what is the syndrome? What does it wake up? Because the European blood that's inside of you, the European DNA that's inside of you, from the race mixing, from the sex farms, from all of that shit that took place, the swirling that some of our grandparents was doing, that shit is still inside of you. those inferior antibodies and those white blood cells is all in your body. So now you got the proverbial God on one shoulder, devil on the other shoulder, but it's coming from within. So there's an internal war. There's a war going on inside before there's a war going on outside. And this is a projection of a war that's taking place inside. And we live on a planet where it's only dualities that exist. So of course it's going to be a white man as your polar opposite, or the duality, because the war is inside. Right. Between the upper and the lower. So if you was orange, what's the contrasting color to orange? That would be your opposition. If your ass was blue, your opposition would be red. If you're white, your opposition is black. If you're purple, your opposition is yellow. It's a dual planet. Cats got beef with dogs. Fish got beef with sharks. Okay? Snakes got beef with hawks. That's the kingdom that we live in. The Hermetic principle takes effect everywhere. It's not personal. It's protagonist, antagonist, relationship. Get over it. Okay? And inside of that relationship, that's what the story is. That is the proverbial Asaurian myth. The story about Heru, Set, and Asar. And in order for the story to even take place, it has to happen. So this friction that we're feeling, or this eternal conflict, or this thing that always surfaces, it's almost in nature. It's almost a part of nature. So that concept of the peaceful utopian planet, that shit is fly. But Comic-Con was last week and it just left the Jacob Javits Center. That's a fantasy. You niggas could get rich off of comic books and other forms of fantasy and video games in your utopian society, but that's not real life. You do better over there. With Marvel and DC, they got Netflix is popping with shit like that. They will buy your series. But that's not the real world. The real world is what we see. It's conflict. When video of the Baton Rouge shooting death of Alton Sterling first surfaced on July 5th, remember, when we woke up that day, everybody was lit. Everybody was talking about it. Everybody was pissed off. When video of the Baton Rouge shooting of Alton Sterling first surfaced on July 5th, social media networks became immediately populated with Sterling's final moments, meaning that they were showing the goddamn shooting on every goddamn scroll I went through, I saw it. The following day, the shooting death of Philando Castile was streamed live by his girlfriend on Facebook, a girlfriend that nobody can find right now. You know that? You know that?
She did the debate.
The video shows Castile gasping for air after being shot 4 times by a Minnesota police officer has since been shared on Facebook more than 5 million times. That nigga went to school with him. He knew him. Okay? So there's two things at play. Either he was a hater or they was in on it together. Outrage peaked again after cell phone footage captured a North Miami police officer shooting an unarmed caretaker as he lay on the ground with his hands up. All of that happened in a few days. Now the footage of fatal shooting of Terrence Crutcher in Tulsa, Oklahoma has people calling for justice yet again. The 40-year-old was shot and killed by Tulsa! Black Wall Street, man! Come on! They kill one of us every goddamn day. They don't give you sensationalism on the death every day. They cherry pick these names. They cherry pick these places. Remember, every place, goddamn, where this thing is happening, these are also murder capitals. Baltimore, Chicago, St. Louis, Milwaukee, or Chirac. This is where niggas are killing each other at wholesale rates. And then you get a police shooting. And then they start rioting. And then these niggas get a budget. They get a new budget. They get signed up an emergency. They declare an emergency with 5 Negroes to a bottle. They bring tanks out, drones, helicopters. Oh my goodness. The niggas are raking up. Nat Turner. And then they get another $1 billion. It's a hustle. It's a hustle. Escaping the imagery can be nearly impossible, especially as online users post commentary and news updates. For some, it can merely be a nuisance, but research suggests that for people of color, remember the definition of color, because they're writing these articles speaking a different language, not your tongue. They speak in a forked tongue. And the people of academia, journalism, media, religion, crusaders, they understand the language that's being spoken and you don't. And illiterate, that's what they say. Niggas are illiterate, 90% don't know how to read. And you like, but I got a 4.0 master. I got a certificate. I was valedictorian. I'm patting on my head for reading. And they're like, no nigga, not that reading. You don't know how to read. Because that's not how we're speaking to you. So research suggests that for people of color, frequent exposure to the shootings of black people can have long-term mental health effects. How many black women is spazzing out? How many black men is losing it? All on the train, dumbing out. Look at this. Go to Google. When black death goes viral, it can trigger PSTD. It's all over Google. All right, and then they record it. Child abuse, rape, sexual assault, brutal physical attack, being in a war, witnessing violence. That's the shit that's taking place in the streets. Bloodshed, death from close quarters, near-death experiences. These are extremely traumatic events, and some victims bear the scars for life. The physical scars heal, but some emotional wounds stop the lives of these people dead in their tracks. They are afraid to get close to people or form new relationships. Change terrifies them. Change terrifies them. Change terrifies them. So all that shit Barack Obama's talking, it don't matter to niggas in fear. And they remain forever hesitant to express their needs or give vent to the creative potential. Let me read that again. And they remain forever hesitant to express their needs or give vent to their creative potential. Meaning that they'll never be able to be up there as a vendor if they're victims all the time. If they take in the trauma, they'll never get up, get out and do something. They'll never want to be a creator. They'll never think about the future. They'll never want to sit down and create a clothing line and say, fuck it, I ain't working for them no more. I'm just going to deal with my creativity and my gifts. And ancestors going to walk me through this shit and introduce me to a group of people that appreciate what it is that I do. I'm gonna walk through the desert if need be. So, they are traumatizing our people, but they are retarding our people at the same time. They are stifling the growth of the babies, the indigos, the crystals. Remember, they're receptive to everything. Remember, they was born open. So if they went from I'm Barack Obama to am I next, then you niggas fail. It's a done. You gotta reprogram them. Cause they laying on the floor with signs saying, am I next? And before, when Obama was running, they were like, am I the next president? Right. So they're being traumatized and they're going to be stifled, and the young men are going to wear purses because they're going to figure that that's a way out. Like they was doing on the plantations. They were wearing purses and heels inside the house. Facts. That's right. Couldn't be in the house and not be a bocce boy. That's right. This was the All-Star game. Everybody was there. Lil Wayne was there. Okay, Mayweather was there. Meaning that they gathered all of our greats in the world of melanated Negro Dome. Okay? And when you put all of us together on a grid, when you put all of us, it's called geomancy. Look it up. When you put all of that melanin, all of that power together in one central location, and you do a ritual in that location, it has reverberations. All-Star Weekend 2012, magic. They used this system. Okay? They exploited this system. They put Trayvon Martin on trial, family. They didn't put what's his name? They didn't put this guy on trial, right? Look at the covers. It says murder and life. George Zimmerman wasn't on trial when he finally went to trial. Wait a minute. George Zimmerman been arrested about 6 times after that. That's right. For real. Trayvon Martin never been arrested, and they still to this day will say that his death was justified. This nigga's a thug, huh? He's a thug. But what do we begin to do? Everybody became Trayvon. And that spell. Everybody became him. Okay? So they put the young man on trial. Trayvon was dead. So who was on trial? the archetype of Trayvon Martin. Trayvon Martin was on trial, he was dead. Trayvon Martin's archetype and what he represented was on trial. Okay? Wasn't Trayvon, and it wasn't Zimmerman. And then they did the correlation. Once they casted the spell, they made these two twins. Mike Brown, Trayvon Martin. These are two cases where humongous spells were captured. These are the two cases that they created where they began to cook up what is known as Black Lives Matter between the timeline of these two cases. And then they introduced a clandestine organization or a government-sponsored organization into what is known as the Black Nationalist Movement. It was in these two cases. This was a grand ritual that we have no idea. To the point where they're gonna make this shit history. They put you in a museum, family. Like I said, his hoodie was on trial. Right? His hoodie was on trial. The Smithsonian. Do you know who the Smithsonian is? The Smithsonian wants Trayvon Martin's hoodie. In the future, they're gonna have you niggas in trial. Your true religions will be in the Smithsonian too, and that's a fact. Biggie's Coogee sweater will be in the Smithsonian. Tupac's bandana. Okay? You niggas all red attire, the Rojo, that's gonna be in the Smithsonian. Your blue chucks will be in the Smithsonian. They're gonna have you as an exhibition, and then maybe the African American Museum might get your ass, right? But look at this. Luke Cage is wearing a bulletproof hoodie to honor Trayvon Martin. How? That nigga, he didn't have a bulletproof hoodie. He got killed. So now they got Luke getting all shot up in the series. Luke Cage's signature hoodie is a tribute to Trayvon Martin. Luke Cage's hoodie worn in series is a nod to Trayvon Martin. Luke Cage is as close to reality as superhero TV can get. Luke Cage star says bulletproof character, nod to Trayvon Martin. There you go. There go the hoodie. Okay? Getting all shot up. Alright? Part of the ritual. Part of the spell. Okay? Part of the spell. Like I said, this is a powerful series. The Trayvon Martin Factor 1, 2, and 3 on Know the Ledge Radio. Please go and get that. Alright? From Palestine to, look, from Staten Island to Palestine. Staten Island is where they killed our brother Eric Garner, right? Resisting Israelis' influence or militarizing policing, meaning that the police are being trained by Israel, okay? The Mossad are training these police departments. Then they came back to America and started killing niggas. Definition of a psychological war: the use of propaganda, threats, and other psychological techniques to mislead, intimidate, demoralize, and otherwise influence the thinking or behavior of an opponent. Used during peacetime contingencies and declared war. These activities are not a form of force, but are force multipliers. They use non-violent means in often violent environments, persuading rather than compelling physicality. They rely on logic, fear, desire, and other mental factors to promote specific emotions, attitudes, or behaviors. The ultimate objective of U.S. military psychological operations is to convince enemy, neutral, and friendly nations and forces to take action favorable to the United States and its allies. Checkmate. U.S. owes black people reparations for a history of racial terrorism. This just came out. That's what the UN says.
That's right.
So at the same time that they're saying this, they're creating a psyop on you people, having you feel like you're the victim. All right?
Well,
this brother right here is in Uganda. They just killed this brother. They got people in the country of Uganda saying that they are ready to take physical military action if his death is not avenged. Okay? We have to make it to where if anything happens to any one of us in the Americas, in this nation, because this man has a double nationality, so he has allies, but we don't. Okay? We don't.
Got it.
There's a case that just took place where there was a white shooter and the victims were white. He said, the policeman said, the fact that domestic terrorists in the U.S. tend to be white men. They also tend to be right-wing extremists, and they're a bigger threat than ISIS, according to law enforcement. For a white sheriff's deputy to claim this can't be terrorism because everyone involved is white is abhorrent in the extreme. He said that the white shooter and the victims means that there wasn't no terrorism because they was all white. Neurocinema is how watching movies or particular scenes from movies affects our brains and the response the human brain gives to any given movie or scene. The term neurocinema comes from neurologists who are studying which pieces of a film can have the most control over a viewer's brain. Real-life stimuli as movies, stories, and music can exert considerable control over the responses of many brain areas, evoking a similar time course of activity across all viewers. Brain imaging monitors the effect of movie magic. The roaring 1920s gave us 5 major movie studios from the Hollywood era. These studios were Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, Paramount, Warner Brothers, 20th Century Fox, RKO Radio. Their growth gave rise to movie viewing entertainment. The question is, does the sudden rise in the popularity of movies impact the viewers' opinions around the world? Moreover, why are movies considered to be a mass communication medium, and in what ways? The term mass suggests great volume. It also refers to extent and reception, messages, communication. Communication is where movies come into play. It entails understanding the meaning and receiving the message. Put together, mass communication is the distribution of an idea or message to a large number of people. Films fit perfectly into this description, just examining the revenues of some of these. Influence of modern day society, influence of film. The film industry has grown and evolved rapidly since its inception in the early 1900s. Over the years, it has gained the attention of every culture in every part of the world. These days, thanks to Hollywood, it is instrumental in shaping the social culture by transforming the viewer's opinions or swaying them one way or the other. The idea that a film can have such an enormous impact on people can be difficult for some. However, this same impact can be a great tool when used properly and for the right reasons. All right? If that movie Puppy Heads explodes, the Alamogada, how do you pronounce that? Amygdala? The amygdala's activity increases and activity in the insula drops. So, with all of that being said, if you are watching executions on Facebook, real life executions, right? Not movies. If you're watching 12 Years a Slave, if you're watching the Roots reboot, if you're watching the Nat Turner thing where they're, torturing our people and you're seeing that scene where they got a whole lot of people hanging from trees, how is that affecting your psyche? Huh? If you're watching Saw 1, 2, 3, 4, your babies are watching that. They watching porn. They watching all of these things. They watching Rob Zombie, Insidious. All of these movies that, in my humble opinion, they got spells in them because they are programming people to do savageries and things of that nature. Neurocinema. They put you under spells. Justice or Else. 1 year ago. Okay? We got to talk about this. Look, he got the game there. He with the Breakfast Club. He with all the rappers. These niggas taking photo ops. They didn't do nothing in 1 year. What they did? He was with the police. Okay? This is the or else. This is the or else. Did they get activated? Was there a follow-up? I don't even remember this shit. No offense. It's the Mandela effect. I don't remember it.
I remember that bulletproof glass though.
This is the 100th anniversary for the Fraternal Order of Police. Okay? Meaning that that fraternity is 100 years. So there's a lot of bonuses that they're putting in, some bonus work. Birth of a Nation. Right? The first one was the rise of the KKK. This is the new birth of a nation. what you think is gonna rise up in white people? Because niggas talking about what it's gonna do for black people. Huh? What you think it's gonna do for the new KKK? Huh? We all go to the movies and we have different perspectives. I just showed you neurocinema. So a white brain can get stimulated by watching that movie the same way that a black brain can be stimulated. He can see himself in a slave master. Right? What part does the Jew play in this? Huh? Because I just showed you in the 20s, the same time the Garvey was coming up, the same time that we had a renaissance, meaning that the black messiahs was rising up in Harlem. Did they do a movie about that shit though? No. Because Hollywood was raising up in the 20s. Did they do a movie about that? They didn't do nothing about that. They didn't show that. They showed Mammies, Sambos, Toms, Amos and Andy, niggas Buck Jackson, the jazz singer, Holly Berry, the butler, all of that shit. All of that shit. But they didn't show you that. They knew about that. They came up in the same time. The Roaring 20s, that's the Renaissance era. That was an era of black excellence. That was an era of black domination and black superiority, or Blackamoor superiority. Okay, look at that. This is our people. These are messianic forces. This is in the 20s. What did they know in the 20s? I thought we were supposed to be dumb and not reading. Huh? They're in their ancestral garb. These were the people that the Europeans were going to sit at their feet and get a few bars from them. The same way that they do it now when they sign you to their industry. The same way when they sign you to their label, what you think they doing? They bring it in the mall to feed off of him. I'm gonna give you some bread, dog. You're gonna make me an album for 10 albums. Then I'm gonna give you $2 off of a $20 album. Then we're gonna ship you around America and have you dance for these niggas, dance for these crackers as a troubadour. You're gonna sing and dance, and when they give you the money, you're gonna give us a bigger percentage. That's what they do. That's how they feed off of us. Our sweat equity, our creativity, our intellectual property, the fact that we got rhythm, the fact that we know how to put words together and cast spells, they get rich off of that. That's the Jew. That's his property. He is here to usher in his Messiah. That is a conflict of interest. I'll never be able to sit at the table with him. Okay? The room is not big enough for two messiahs. So he's doing everything in his power to stop the rise of your Messiah, while he is bankrolling his messiahs. That's the agreement that he has with the European. They work together. He's a financial wizard. They control the money. So sign a nigga to a label, no problem. Put him under the contract. We own him. That's also what they do. They're wizards with the pen. The ledgers, the legalese. The money is the trick bag. The money is the carrot. It's the contract that ties you in. That's the contract when you go and sign up for your job. It's a W-2 that locks you in. Okay? It's not the check that they're gonna cut you in 2 weeks. It's the contract. When a nigga sign up to the NFL and he get a bonus, he can't say nothing about the issues because he's on the contract. It's not about his money. And they got that nigga thinking about, they signed him for a 10-year deal. So they're like, yo, you can't say nothing for 10 years. Because if you do, you're gonna fuck up that bag. Because we have our financial advisor who's also a Jew, and a lawyer who's also a Jew, and the owner of your label or your organization who's also a Jew. They're giving you 10-year prospects. If you niggas stay in line, if you're able to touch your toes for 10 years straight with us, this is where you could be on a golf course with us in your retirement with your 401k. So stay in line, nigga, because we got you for 10 years. That's what's going on, and it's contractual. You become a paper slave. Okay, we live in a digital light era now, but we coming out of the paper era. They took over with the paper. So if any retard is running around talking about paperwork this, paperwork that, you know that these niggas are illegitimate pirates. They just be on ships robbing people. They're not even in they're not in that world. If you get more than $1,000, you got a contract with somebody. Okay? Even if you're independent. The power is in a contract. Your birth certificate is a contract. Your driver's license is a contract. Your lease is a contract. Okay? Your MetroCard is a contract. Your car note is a contract. When you went to take your kids to the daycare center, I don't care if it's or Set Daycare Center or it's the Knuckle Drag Academy, the Short Bus Academy. You still sign a contract. It's all paperwork. So you're agreeing in your agreement, right? Remember, the European deals with suggestion. He rules with suggestion. He rules with your agreement. You said that it was all right to bend you over. That's how they volunteer. That's what isn't that the biblical story? That the devil said what to God? If them niggas volunteered, then God said if they volunteered, then they're yours. They fool. You could do it with them what you want to do with them. Look at Israel. Israel expelled 8,000 African immigrants because they threatened Jewish identity. Alright? They saying that their Messiah is coming back. So they getting rid of the Jews, the Ethiopian Coptic Jews, okay? The Yahweh ben Yahwehs, and people like that, out of there. It's just the Zionists. We're going to take over. Hundreds of African kings head to Israel for tabernacles. Right? Am I next? That's a question. That's not a statement or affirmation. That's like an affirmation and a question. Because somebody has to answer that question eventually. Okay? You never do anything like that in warfare. Thousands of Israelis take to the streets calling for Palestinian genocide. Be very careful when you bring that Jew in here to do that debate. Facts. Know who you're dealing with.
That's right.
Know who you're entering into your community. They're not going to leave.
That's right.
They're not going to fucking leave. Okay? Pardon my French. They're not going to leave. Now they want to come to Harlem and talk about they watching us. They're going to capitalize. Okay? Ever since they debated that Jew, all kind of shit been happening in our community. We got exposed. We got exposed by the media. They lined us up over the summer. Facts. That was a lie. I'm gonna show you.
That's crazy.
I'm gonna show you how they lined them up. Look, Israel trains our police to control us in the NWO. The police are being trained by the Israeli army to defeat and control their enemy. And when your police come back, you become their enemy. They was nice before they went to Israel to get the training. But the Mossad trained them the way that they trained their soldiers to suppress the Palestinians and the Syrians. And it's with an iron fist. Okay? These are your Nazis. That's when they started to come back. It is immediately after that they started turning up on us. Brutally. Look at this. Just following orders.
Who the real villain? The one crack dealing or oil drilling. You in my motherland and you killing all her children. Your dollars ain't backed by nothing. Fuck your millions.
It's been going on since the days of the Egyptians. Can you see that? It's been going on since the days of the Egyptians.
Cantaloupe, they'll poison the melons and feed them to your children. What you think is Thanksgiving? Yo, if I was there, I would've killed the pilgrims. Broke now, my forefathers fumbled billions, trillions. But I keep it trilling, cause my inner wealth never diminished. Far from gimmicks, niggas will spill the beans without spilling their Guinness. I won't stop till my neck froze, till my neck gold, till my whole set hold. When I cash checks, bank rolls, no stack, shit can't fold. Can't trust you, your man told. Since it's the greatest to the hellhole. They throw dirt on my name, but it never stuck like Velcro. Came back clean on them. Glock 9 got the infrared beam on them. I remember I was smoking with a bitch named Keisha. Game time, I was in the bleachers. Now it's fourth quarter and I'm water. MVP, what? Chilling with my feet up. Yeah.